right, we are live on this Black Friday. Hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. We've got so many different things that we're following. We're watching the Egg Bowl over in Starkville, Mississippi, where Ole Miss leads Mississippi State 14-7. We all know there's a lot of storylines involving with that game, especially with the potential of the college football playoff berth for Mississippi. Though the first time ever that Ole Miss would get an opportunity to play in the postseason of the college football playoff. Also, Lane Kiffin is supposed to notify folks tomorrow what his intent is. He has got multiple job offers. We know it's not going to be Florida. Florida has apparently moved on from Lane Kiffin. It's going to come down to whether he wants to stay in Oxford, maybe coach Ole Miss in the college football playoff, or head south to Baton Rouge. Then the question would Ole Miss be okay with that in regards to letting you coach the team, but you've already accepted a job elsewhere? Many people in Oxford tell me that would not happen, but we'll see if Keith Carter, if he is presented with that potential, we'll see what he does there. Moments ago, there have been a litany of texts and tweets going around in regards to what Florida is potentially going to do. Pete Thamel tweeted out just a couple of moments ago that it appears that Jon Sumrall is going to make a decision about his future by Sunday morning. We all know that Auburn has been hot and heavy for Jon Sumrall at Tulane from the get-go. So has the University of Florida. Matter of fact, he has interviewed with Scott Strickland and the University of Florida. Thamel tweeted out moments ago that Tulane coach Jon Sumrall is expected to make a decision on his coaching future on Sunday morning. He's expected to choose between staying at Tulane and his outside opportunities, which have included a significant interest from Florida and Auburn. Chris Lowe followed up that tweet from On3, and he said the following: even during the Lane Kiffin courtship, Sumrall has remained on Florida's radar, and as everything starts to clear, a deal could come together quickly with the Gators.
Yeah, and not that they're reporting something that they made up. They've gotten information from people that they view as credible. Things to keep in mind: if Jon Sumrall is entertaining a Florida offer, what does this do to Scott Strickland? Pat, we kind of discussed it in the break, but what does this do? This ups the ante, because Scott Strickland's got to come back with something. Everyone was expecting this big Lane Kiffin swing, and they made the swing, and apparently Lane Kiffin decided no. But given the other options, where else do you go? I just find it hard, and I think the world of Jon Sumrall, and I think he would do great at Florida too. But selling that fan base on hey, we're going to unload the bank and the gold reserves for Lane Kiffin, and then you hire another group of five coach from the state of Louisiana.
It's very dangerous. Very dangerous.
And you just went through all of that with Billy Napier. Meanwhile, let's just play it out. You look across the way, and LSU has fired Brian Kelly and hired Lane Kiffin. Probably tough to stomach.
Yeah, and matter of fact, you're getting Florida sites. They're calling for protests before the Florida State game.
Yeah.
Calling for the immediate firing of Scott Strickland, because this was Lane Kiffin. I mean, Chris Doering ran his mouth the whole time on SEC Network the last week and a half saying that Lane Kiffin was going to Florida. I don't know where he was getting his information from, but obviously it was wrong because Lane Kiffin isn't going there. So I don't know. There's so many different levels to all this.
And is this a leverage play from Sumrall's camp, his agent, where it's more money potentially if there is some kind of memorandum of understanding with Auburn and Sumrall? Or are there too many strings attached with the whole DJ Durkin thing? And Florida said, hey, we're gonna pay you this much more than whatever the conversation was about an offer from Auburn, and you got total control, and you can keep who you want to keep and add who you want to add. I don't know. I'm playing it out different scenarios from that angle. I've maintained from the very beginning that Jon Sumrall was number one and the target, and Jon Sumrall wanted Auburn. Now, it's gotten a little murky here in the last few days, but some of it could be a smokescreen.
Well, it's also known fact that Jon Sumrall has not just sat by the phone waiting for John Cohen. He has interviewed for other jobs.
Sure. And I thought it was interesting that the report that came out of Florida that Florida was going to interview Jon Sumrall. Remember that like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and then it was quickly canceled or shot down that he would not be meeting with them, but now meeting with them. maybe tells you about his initial interest and Florida's initial interest in Jon Sumrall and what that could mean. But I do think that we get a conclusion by Sunday at the very latest.
Yeah, I think all of this is going to conclude rather quickly this weekend. But I will tell you this, and we've kind of been, full transparency. Chris Lowe is very well connected in the agent business. And I knew when Molly called me that afternoon, I was on my way home from the radio station and said that Chris Lowe just tweeted this about Nick Saban. I knew exactly where it was coming from, and I was like, yeah, this is for real. Like he is absolutely retiring because of Chris Lowe's contacts in the agent business. And you can read between the lines what I'm saying.
Yep.
And if Chris Lowe is tweeting that out about a deal could come together quickly with Florida, somebody's telling him that.
Yes, for sure.
And it's definitely not Jon Sumrall's agent, but it's someone that is as connected as anybody in the business, and he would know what's going on.
Well, if you really want Jon Sumrall and you're John Cohen, I don't know what those conversations have gone on. But it seems to be DJ Durkin has been the point of contention. Not that Jon Sumrall wouldn't be open to it, but he's a defensive-minded guy. If you're going to promise him the keys to the kingdom, which I've been told that is, but you're trying to sell him on keeping a guy that you value, and I think that DJ Durkin, if they could cohabitate and work simultaneously with one another, it'd be great. But it's two different defensive guys that have an edge, but that doesn't mean they think totally alike, and that doesn't mean that they mesh well with personalities in that building. So you're asking a lot. I don't know how well they know each other. What's the role going to be is if you have a guy that your roster is saying we're going to stay around, those are reports, right? You go and talk to those guys, yeah, for sure, we're on board. Well, number one, there's no guarantee with any of those guys. If Cam Coleman gets offered $10 million to play one season of football at Ohio State, that could make it really, really tough for him to stay at Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think that it's a tough spot that if this is playing out behind the scenes like some believe it is, it would be a tough spot that John Cohen has put himself in with Jon Sumrall and the DJ Durkin and trying to get that to work out. I don't know. I don't know what DJ Durkin's thoughts would be on it.
I do think it's safe to say that
if you haven't had the conversation about him being a head coach, how are you having these conversations about potentially, okay, well, if we don't name you the head coach, we name this guy, would you be okay with it as he's getting ready for the Iron Bowl?
Well, and I would just wonder, too, if you're, somebody like Jon Sumrall, right, and you're having these conversations and you go, okay, so you clearly view DJ Durkin as an integral part of the future of this program. Why don't you just hire him as the head coach, right? I could see that perspective as well. As if you're going to tell me how to run my staff or who to hire or how to put this thing together, that's fine. But if you're so insistent on this one guy, just give him the job.
And if the players are sold on DJ Durkin, why am I going to pay you an extra $8.5 million?
There you go.
We'll get a lot more. DJ's got guys, I'm sure, on the offensive side of the ball. Maybe he would clean house if he was named head coach. But on the defensive side of the ball that he works with, you'd have more continuity there. I don't think DJ Durkin would be the worst hire, but I think long-term for the future, Jon Sumrall would be a perfect fit at Auburn.
If roster retention is the main priority right now, do you think that makes DJ Durkin the best? Again, if that is your perspective on the hire, is you're focused on retaining the talent on this roster, do you think DJ Durkin gives you a better job of doing that than anyone else?
Well, if that means that if he's not the head coach and he's not on that staff, then yeah, if he stays, it does help. But it's based on people I've talked to. Jon Sumrall, he's infectious with players. I don't think it would take him long to earn their respect, their allegiance.
The On3 site for LSU, the Bengal Tiger, they were reporting just a couple minutes ago, a source with direct knowledge of the LSU search told us today that Lane Kiffin would lean towards Lane's announcement on Saturday, which would fall in line with what Ole Miss said a week ago. All indications are that they believe, according to Bengal Tiger, that he will announce that he's coming to LSU. Now, they're not reporting that like, hey, he's the next head coach. This is their belief.
Where does Ole Miss go then?
That's what I'm saying.
If you're goalish, are you being slow? Would that be an option? I would think Alex Golesh would do well in Oxford.
I think
I'm really good at picking other people's jobs.
I think what has happened with Arkansas, and this is once again, your people are figuring out and finding out the rough way where the pecking order in the Southeastern Conference is. So you had Arkansas, who were the first ones to fire Sam Pittman, and they were just hoping that Bobby Petrino, please Bobby, just win one game, just beat Auburn. Beat one of the worst Auburn teams we've seen in a long time. Just beat Auburn, and we'll give you the job. He couldn't even do that. They're not going to beat Missouri. So Bobby's already sent out his thank you, Hog Nation, love you, kisses, see you soon, I'm out, toodles. He's already sent that out, so it's not Bobby. And then the story from multiple people, not just the one individual, because we talked about it on Wednesday. It was legitimate. Chris Hummer from 247 Sports. I mean, he's very credible. And apparently Golesh and his folks might have just said, no, hold on a second. I really haven't agreed to anything yet. It was just like the situation with Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss and Arkansas. Like, he had the offer from Arkansas, and Arkansas felt really good that Lane Kiffin was going to be the next head coach. And then he changed his mind. He decided he was going to go to Ole Miss, and here we are 6 years later. Now he's contemplating leaving for Baton Rouge. But my point being is Arkansas could not have Golesh, and then Golesh could have his option of either Florida or Ole Miss as opposed to Arkansas. And anybody in the right mind would take those two jobs over Arkansas.
Yeah.
No offense. Great people in the state of Arkansas, but football program compared to those two, yeah.
Yeah.
And Sumrall is going to have his choice of three possibly. Ole Miss, Florida, or heck, I mean, if Lane decides to say LSU. But like Landrum said, I believe 1,000% that Jon Sumrall will be a head coach. He will be in Destin come spring meetings.
100%.
Now, whether he'll be wearing a orange and blue Gator polo or an orange and blue Auburn polo, I don't know yet.
Does he know yet?
Apparently, no. Based on all these tweets and information coming out. So we've tried to make heads or tails of the situation. The pipeline is going to get cleared out pretty quickly. I'm really kind of shocked that we haven't already heard a leak coming out of the Lane Kiffin camp.
Yeah.
Now, if you're an Ole Miss fan, by him not leaking something, that might, they might be saying, hey, he might be coming back.
Can you imagine if there was a visible thought bubble
of what's
going through Lane's? Would it just be pictures?
Listen, Landrum, the last 3 days, Lane Kiffin has been in front of the monitor looking at film over Mississippi State. He's been looking over potential college football playoff opponents.
Yeah.
He is not worried about articles that's being written about him in publications. He's not worried about what this person said about him on television. He is 1,000% focused on the Egg Bowl and the college football playoff.
You think this morning at the hotel, he walked down and he sat down with his assistants and he went, all right, boys, what we got? Sorry.
Possibly.
Been busy this week. What we got? How's state look this year?
What time's kickoff?
No, what time's kickoff?
What time do I have to be there?
All right, I had the wrong time. Sorry.
Well, you got a Marty interview. Okay, well, yeah, I'll bring up the part. Molly showed me some video that apparently has leaked out on social media of the uniforms. Some things being done to the uniforms.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Like vile things?
Well,
I'm guessing vile things.
I mean, it's just typical college drunk guys doing stuff. I assume that's drunk college guys.
Yeah, I was a drunk college guy one time.
I hope
we did stupid stuff.
I hope they're drunk. If not, it'd be even more disturbing.
Yeah. So, can you give me a hint of the things that they were doing?
Go ahead, Molly. I'll let you try to explain this to Landrum.
Which one do you want first? There's two of them.
Whatever dealer's choice.
The first one I showed Pat was pretty vile. And I would prefer not to explain that. I can show you the video when we're.
Oh, I'm glad you said. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I had.
Can you do puppets?
No.
No, puppets would be kind of.
Does it involve a fluid?
No.
No.
Oh, okay,
No.
okay.
I really can't do the puppet though.
No.
But the second video, or the second one was a photo.
Does it involve a pelvic thrust of any kind?
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once again, guilty. Drunk college guy at one time in my life. Okay.
But the second one, let's just say the picture I saw, it seemed like the drunk college kid in question had maybe just gotten out of the shower and was using something as his shower mat.
Oh.
Yes. And his bare feet were on there.
Hmm.
Something Conrad would do.
Yeah.
That's what I'm using this jersey for after the show today.
There it is.
So are you telling me they broke in the locker room and guy took a shower?
I don't know
No, I
if it
think
was
they-
the
I
locker
think they
room
s-
shower.
I don't know if I want to hear the rest of the
Stole
story.
stole the jersey.
Can we talk about the cameras really quick, though?
Yeah.
You're telling me you have cameras in the locker room?
Well,
He was worried.
yeah, he was worried about it. And he can do that. It's their locker room.
Okay.
You can set them up.
But it was just Lane being forward thinker of like, hey, or the equipment guy saying, hey, let's put some cameras in here.
I
'cause
was
don't
I was
trust these
thinking that
guys."
this was manufactured by Lane Kiffin. This would be, hey, you go in there and do this. We're gonna. This is the way. That
So what do you think,
We're gonna
Conrad?
get them
You
fired
just saw the video.
Kind of like salting your own field.
This might be a hot take. I think that was pretty tame in comparison to what they could have done. That's like you said, Lander, that is prototypical for a drunk 20-year-old.
Yeah.
I've seen way worse. So
That guy a hero today, or is he in jail?
It depends if Mississippi State wins.
Those charges never get.
see, here's the problem though with people that do stuff like that today is because in that video you sent me, that's clearly one of them videoing themselves doing it and posting it online.
Right.
How stupid can you be? Hope it was worth it.
Well, how sober
Fair.
was he?
Fair. In the wise words of Lane Kiffin, fair question.
I went where last night?
I don't remember that.
You hadn't seen the video?
Under 6 minutes to go until halftime, and
Ooh.
Ole Miss holding on to a 14-7 lead. Meanwhile, in the snow in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Look at that snow.
Look at that snow. That's sideways snow,
Oh,
snow
I love
Molly.
it. Oh, I wish I was there.
And
Aw.
Nebraska's doing their typical throw up on themselves. They're down 17-13 to Iowa.
Yeah. Well,
A
'cause
lot
you guys
more-
are wearing those hats.
A lot more
Well,
points
I
in
mean-
this game that you would have expected.
Well,
maybe?
we have expressed that we are we're sellouts,
Clearly.
and you have not done a proper job of getting us geared up for the Nebraska-Iowa game, like
It's-
Iowa did. The University of Iowa provided these hats to us.
Pat and I have a history with Chuck Long.
Yes,
Cool.
who should have won the Heisman Trophy.
He should have over that Bo Jackson guy in '85.
Out of that guy out of Bessemer.
Yeah, everybody talks Woodson and Manning, whatever. Chuck Long
Yeah.
got screwed, and Hayden Fry.
So Chambliss is only 8 of 13 for 118 yards passing with his I guess probably his lucky jersey.
Well, I was about to say
stolen.
he's not used to wearing that jersey. It's probably a little tight around the shoulders.
Yeah.
You
And now
think
he just-
Raiola goes to LSU?
No, he's going to Texas Tech.
Now, we already established Keelan Russell's going to LSU.
Yeah, but just wait until the lane train gets down there. Do you think that how many years does Trinidad Chambliss have left?
I think he needs to go in front of the NCAA.
He'll do the
and-
JUCO thing and get one
Yeah,
more
we'll
year.
get that done.
I think he'll get
You
one
can
more
get that
year.
done with Ferris State on the resume. Plus, when you show what that guy did to your jersey in the locker room, maybe the judge will have sympathy.
Could Garrett Nussum, I don't know what his deal is. Could he come back for another year?
At this point, why don't you just put on the uniform and make them stop you?
Yeah, I mean, might as well.
Who's gonna stop you?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to run a break. I mean, when we come back, Nathan King has just posted something behind the paywall, an update on Jon Sumrall. So we'll give that to you next on 3 Man Front. Well, Scott Strickland is definitely on the clock trying to find a new head football coach since Lane Kiffin is out of the mix at Florida. A lot of names, including Jon Sumrall, who is potentially up for the Auburn job as well. We'll give you an update momentarily on Auburn Undercover's Nick. Do you have that?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, we'll get to that momentarily as Nathan King has an update behind the paywall. Golston Tree Service, they're the company that you hear me talk about all the time here on Three Man Front. So if you got a dangerous tree that's leaning over your house or your property or maybe even your driveway, branches blocking your view, call Golston Tree Service 205-337-4443. Golston's licensed tree pros, they handle everything from trimming and pruning to full tree removals, fast, safe, and affordable. Don't wait until the next storm causes damages. Call Golston Tree Service today, 205-337-4443. A lot going on, trying to make heads or tails of it. But Molly, Nathan King from Auburn Undercover just posted this update on the Auburn search.
Yeah, this is what he says. We heard a couple of times over the last 48 hours that Florida had begun more aggressively pursuing Sumrall. Now, that makes sense with Lane Kiffin reportedly pulling his name out of the running there. Obviously, Auburn hopes its courting process of Sumrall that dates back several weeks pays off in the end. Florida, from what he's heard, came in this week and plopped a big contract on his desk. I cannot confirm that John Cohen is forcing DJ Durkin as the DC on Sumrall, but we know that keeping him has been a discussion. Initially, we heard that Sumrall was just fine with it. If that has changed, that could be a reason that he shifts to Florida. Regardless, this is obviously the most important domino to watch after the Iron Bowl. If Florida hires Sumrall, Cohen will move quickly elsewhere. We still believe it would be Durkin promoted to head coach, but that's not to say that other names still aren't on the list. Cohen has been very tight-lipped about this whole thing, and it would not surprise me if he's been in contact with others. The only other name I've heard this week before Clark Lee signed an extension was Kenny Dillingham, that he was leaving the door open to conversations about open jobs in the SEC, so maybe he's a wild card down the stretch.
That was Nathan King from Auburn Undercover. Just your thoughts on what you heard Nathan wrote.
I don't doubt that Scott Strickland is probably, I'm not going to call it panic mode, but he's going to have somebody to present.
He's close.
Yeah, he's close. and making a boatload of an offer. Just based on, you kind of realized during this Lane Kiffin discussion how much money was available there in the coffers with the support that you're getting from people who are still Gator football fans. But we don't know if there's two ways to look at it. Has he been given a wink and a nod, Sumrall with Auburn? Or there's a lot of different ways to look at it. Is Durkin, is that kind of a deal, not a deal breaker, but is that something you don't want to worry about? Do you have an offer from Florida for $9.5 million a year, so much guaranteed? Maybe Auburn was talking in the range of 7.5 to get started. Plus, you've got the whole DJ Durkin thing. And again, I don't know if that's a hang-up for Jon Sumrall. I think it naturally might be a concern for any coach that would be coming in. And then you worry about, all right, well, is the team going to follow me? They're going to follow DJ Durkin because he has this allegiance. Is DJ Durkin going to follow me as the leader of this football program? Whereas Scott Strickland could be saying, look, do what you want. Here's your check. Here's your offer. Are you going to wait on potentially an Auburn or a decision from John Cohen on Sunday? Or do you want to go ahead and take this thing? We'll have you in Gainesville tonight. I don't know. It does seem like I think it's funny that we got two former Mississippi State ADs battling for the same coach. Or maybe it's not a battle. And usually, Pat, you've been a part of a lot more coaching searches than I have, but usually you will get a lot more smoke here in the closing stretch.
In the final minutes.
Everybody starts putting out their last little bit of nuggets.
Well, we said at the beginning of the week, I was shocked that we would not get to like this morning before the kickoff of the Egg Bowl. That may be something about Lane Kiffin. And the thing that we got was Florida pivoting away from Lane Kiffin because Lane Kiffin just had not returned their phone calls, basically. And which also tells you that Florida was willing to go up to $15 million to pay Lane Kiffin. And it's a little bit different when LSU says, hey, we can go 15. Remember, Matt Moscona said 10 days ago, they'd go up to 16 if needed be. Like, LSU was not going to walk out of that room and be undersold by any other team.
Yeah.
Like, they were going to put the best foot forward. And, Matt Moscona made the case on Wednesday in which he said that one thing's for sure, LSU has proven that it can win a national championship with coaches that were not as talented as Lane Kiffin. Talking about Les Miles and Ed Orgeron. And then so if you've got the whole university pulling in one direction and you bring Lane Kiffin in, you give him the money, then you give him the NIL, things of that nature, then all of a sudden LSU thinks that they can plug in pretty quick and be competitive even next year.
I just think it's funny because we're already getting texts on the text line. They're saying organize a protest for Scott Strickland, and we're getting Florida fans that are saying, oh, my gosh, Sumrall, really? Are you kidding? Whereas a lot of Auburn fans would love to have Jon Sumrall right now. I tell the Florida fans, I think Jon Sumrall, that would be a grand slam, and if you view it as bad now, it's going to be a blessing in disguise. I think Jon Sumrall is special. And so if he lands at Florida for whatever reasons that lead to it, I think you got a heck of a coach.
It's also pointing out.
It'd be funny when he's coaching in an SEC championship game and Lane still hasn't made one if he's in Baton Rouge.
Well, if that's the case, might find the same thing that happened to Brian Kelly happened to Lane Kiffin, or Lane Kiffin tries to go to the NFL or do something else. But you're seeing across the landscape of college football, if Eli Drinkowitz is now one of the highest paid coaches in all of college football, and he is yet to beat one single team in his tenure in Como of a team in the SEC that has finished with 5 wins or more, if you're able to give him 10 point, I think the average is what, 10.6? 10.7 million? For what?
He's making more money than Dan Lanning right now.
I mean, seriously. But that
and Kalen DeBoer.
But it shows you that these schools are so desperate. Why do you think Mike Norvell has survived? They get these crazy buyouts and schools can't afford it. And they're like going, you look around the landscape. I mean, the University of Florida can't hire a coach, it seems like right now. Florida.
Yeah.
We might be saying the same thing about LSU if Lane stays at Ole Miss.
Exactly.
And I think we would all agree that LSU's easily a top 10 job in college football, if not top 5.
But it also shows you, and I know that we've kind of thrown out some different names, but whether it's Cliff Kingsbury, who's with the Commanders, or it's Lincoln Riley at
Jed
Southern
Fish.
Cal. I mean, seriously, I would – why anybody is enamored by Jed Fish, I want someone to educate me on that. I mean, I'm serious. I don't – maybe I just don't know enough about Jed Fish, but to me, that would be an absolute horrible hire for anybody in the Southeastern Conference, let alone Florida. Like, why would it go all the way down to that point? I would hire –
It feels like a Harsin. That would kind of feel like a Harsin hire.
Yeah, to me, I mean, I would hire Jon Sumrall like –
10 times over.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Same thing for Golish.
Over Jed Fish. But you've allowed, I'm talking to Florida fans, you have allowed Scott Strickland the opportunity to make another hire. And here you go.
And you thought this one would be different.
Yeah.
But if you get Sumrall, I'm telling you, be happy about it.
No, you should be happy. Should be happy. All right. We will continue on this Football Friday. Black Friday, we'll give you an update from Starkville, including a bench-clearing brawl between the two schools. Oh, the Egg Bowl never disappoints. That's next on Three Man Front. Mississippi State has kicked a field goal. They have cut Ole Miss's lead from 7-4. It's now 14-10, 1 minute and 46 seconds to go in the first half. They had 3 offsetting personal fouls, but no ejections in the bench clearing brawl. I guess you'd call that a brawl, right? Guys hitting each other with football helmets on.
It was a fracas.
That's what it was. It was just a friendly disagreement between those fine folks in the Magnolia State.
It's just like what happened at 3 a.m. this morning. It's just a, friendly misunderstanding.
It's just misunderstanding.
They thought they were trying to get in the Mississippi State locker room and, I don't know, leave some encouraging messages to the team, and they ended up in the visitors' locker room and said, well, we'll make do.
Yeah, it's been an interesting morning for sure. 1-800-239-WJOX. Also, what's the update from Lincoln, Molly?
I believe it's still 17-16. It's at commercial right now. And I was moving my stuff over, so.
17-16 Iowa?
Unfortunately.
Okay. Gotcha. Coming up at 2:30, you'll have Georgia Tech in Georgia. Tonight, you'll have Texas A&M in Texas. So we've got college football playoff implications like all over the place. But let's get to your phone calls at 1-800-239-WJOX. I know many of you are out and about shopping today. Let's go to Mount Olive. Who's the gentleman we have?
This is William. How you doing, William?
Hey, William, what's going on, man?
Pretty good. I appreciate y'all. Listen, I was a college student in the 70s, mid-70s, and it was brought up 2 segments ago about the jersey being stolen at Starkville of the Mississippi quarterback. And I think the statute of limitations have run out. I was a scholarship athlete at a D2 school in the 70s in Alabama. But we had friends that went in the military.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my friends was stationed at the Pensacola, Florida Naval Air Base. And so we went down to see him one weekend after the season, and in the middle of the night, a 151 party, we decided to go to the Naval Air Base. They had credentials, and we went past the guards and pulled up to the ship, aircraft carrier, and parked. And we went on a tour at 2:00 in the morning of the naval ship.
Oh, really?
You know, it was a World War II. Yeah.
At 2 a.m.?
And yes. And, well, it was a 151 Bacardi.
I got you.
And they lived off the base, but we went on base and got through, and there was one car in the parking lot. And it was a Lincoln Continental. Man, it was pretty new. And it was backed in next to the ship in a personal parking place. No other cars. Nobody on the ramp to go into the ship. And it had a blue tag with a silver star. And so I asked some of the guys, I said, what does that tag mean? Oh, he's the admiral. Well, I took a dime out of my pocket and took the tag off. And, I'd probably be in prison right now. So it's very possible that a student got into the locker room and stole that jersey of the quarterback. I mean, that's just what you do when you're 20, 19, 20. It's crazy. But I do appreciate y'all talking about that.
Sure.
So whoever mentioned that on the air is true. Frat boy. I was never a frat boy, but we partied too.
Sure. I understand. Well, listen, thank you for the call. Happy Thanksgiving. We appreciate you calling us on Black Friday.
You do that too.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. 1-800-239-WJOX. as I continue to read social media posts from around college football, John Bryce, who works with footballscoop.com, he just tweeted this out a few moments ago. He said, how serious is Florida in pursuit of Jon Sumrall? Sources say to Football Scoop that Florida had two-time Florida title-winning coach Urban Meyer call Sumrall and discuss the program's autonomy. So Urban Meyer is calling Jon Sumrall.
I don't know if that's the guy you want doing that.
So it's interesting because supposedly Nick Saban has been calling on behalf of Lane Kiffin for the LSU job, and Urban Meyer is calling Jon Sumrall about the Florida job.
Listen, John, if you come to Gainesville, you would not believe the things they will let you get away with. Let me tell you, John, this is going to be great for you.
Problems with players, law, nah, don't worry about it.
John, my best piece of advice to you, you need an inner circle. And by inner circle, all the best players on your team can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
No punishment, no repercussions. Just let them do their thing. It's going to work out for you, I promise.
We will get to your text momentarily, but, for more than 4 decades, Alabama Professional Services, they've been your trusted choice for pest control, termite protection, and lawn care, fertilization, and more. The certified statewide teams at APS, they're friendly, efficient, reliable. They're experts. Call them today at 205-951-9717. Whether you're looking to safeguard your home from pests or keep your lawn healthy and green, APS can deliver proven solutions backed by dependable customer service. They handle everything Birmingham, Montgomery, Huntsville. This is a local company that can help you. 205-951-9717 or just go to their website, alabamaprofessional.com. We will get to your text messages next on the Courtesy GMC text line. They have gone to halftime over in Starkville, Mississippi. Ole Miss leads Mississippi State 21-10 as Ole Miss adds a touchdown right before the end of the first half. So pretty lively first half, Conrad, between these two schools. A lot on the line for the Ole Miss Rebels.
Yeah, you got to be happy right now if you are somebody that took Ole Miss and the 7.5 because they are currently covering that right now. But yeah, I mean, over 300 yards of offense for Ole Miss in the first half. You got a brawl early on. We've had some turnover action. So it's everything that you could ask for from an Egg Bowl. We'll see if Mississippi State can make a second half comeback or if Lane will go out on top and maybe his last game ever with the Rebels.
So many people have been texting in this morning. We are live here on this Black Friday. So let's get to the courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450.
And this first text that comes in is courtesy of Joseph. He says, did y'all just see the Egg Bowl brawl where the Ole Miss players actually stayed on the sidelines? Does that happen if Lane Kiffin is leaving? Maybe insinuating that the players are, I guess, are we asking if they're more amped up because of the situation? So maybe they're a little shorter fuse for some guys? Maybe so. Maybe so. Let's see. This text rolling in here. If Auburn wants Jon Sumrall, or for that matter, any coach, doesn't John Cohen have enough sense to know that you don't start out by trying to tell him who his assistant coaches will need to be?
Well, we don't know if that's the case. That's just being a thought because they think very highly of DJ Durkin. But I'm of the opinion that if you're going to take a job like that, you should have 100% autonomy to name and hire whoever you want to.
I agree. I go back to, there was an interview with AL.com I think it was either last week or the week before, that John Cohen had done. And it was like his second interview with them since the coaching search. And John Cohen came out and said, we want DJ Durkin to be here, whether that's as an assistant or as the next head coach. And he said that in his conversations with candidates for the job, that he had discussed with them keeping DJ Durkin on the staff, and that those conversations had all been positive. So that, I mean, that came straight from John Cohen recently about the search. We'll see how it ultimately plays out there at Auburn. This text says, if you were Lane, would you go to LSU in light of the attempt to ice Brian Kelly out of his payout? Add to that what the governor has been saying since then. Would that turn you off to the LSU job if you're Lane?
I think the sales pitch that LSU has told him is that not only are we going to give the minimal NIL, which is $20.5 million to the student athlete, but we are willing to go another 15 or maybe even 20 million. So you're looking at a possible roster construction of $35 to $40 million. And I'll be completely honest, I don't know if Ole Miss could actually do that.
Mark texted in. He says, Durkin will be named the head coach at Auburn. Don't believe the BS fake news that is floating around. He also says, Ty Simpson, a top 10 draft pick, LOL, crying faces. Apparently not impressed with what he's seen from Ty Simpson this year.
So he's saying that it will be DJ Durkin?
Yes.
Okay.
It will be DJ Durkin, and Ty Simpson will not be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. Those are Mark's takes this morning. This text, do y'all think if Alabama loses to Auburn that Kalen DeBoer is gone? I do not think so. Do you have a different opinion?
I do not.
I do not think so. Do not think that's happening. This one, somebody's sending in, ooh, is this a flight tracker?
Ooh.
It says, private jet heading to Austin from Clemson this morning. What could this mean? I don't know. I will say the flight tracker stuff is fun. I just get worried with that stuff now because it's very easy to fake some of these things, and you never know. But that would certainly be interesting if that is in fact true. This one says Lane could end up jobless after all this. I think he'll
be fine.
I think he'll be fine. Let's see. This one says Lane Kiffin's just waiting to see if DeBoer runs to Penn State. Well, unfortunately, I do believe he would be waiting for quite some time if that happens. Drake, who we know is a big Florida fan, who chimes in regularly. Drake, hope you had a good Thanksgiving yesterday. He says Scott Strickland's on his way out from the people that I just talked to. That would be the athletics director for Florida.
Well, I will tell you this, and I mentioned this earlier. Football Scoop is saying that Urban Meyer has had a call with Jon Sumrall. In regards to Sumrall, this is what Football Scoop says. Florida is the furthest down the road with Sumrall, which is interesting. Football Scoop is reporting that because we believe that Auburn had, but again, Florida was open before Auburn. Before Auburn.
Correct.
So this is what it says. It says, Florida's so dialed in on Sumrall that sources told Football Scoop this week that the Gators had tabbed former two-time Florida National Championship winning head coach Urban Meyer to speak with Sumrall about the opening, among other Florida dignitaries. The Florida contingent speaking with Sumrall, sources shared, also have made it clear that Sumrall would have full control of the Gators program and autonomy on staffing decisions.
That could be key.
That is a contrast with what multiple sources have shared with Football Scoop across the past 2 weeks in regards to the Auburn Tigers' quest to replace Freeze.
So let me ask you this. If you are John Cohen and Jon Sumrall says, I love Auburn, this is where I want to be, I will take this job, I will sign this contract right now, but I need full control over the coaching staff and hires. I do not want DJ Durkin to be a part of my staff. If you're John Cohen, would you still go, yep, here you go. Here's the keys to the kingdom. Or would that give you reservations about Jon Sumrall? I think, personally, if you like Jon Sumrall that much, you say, all right, yes, sir. We love you, DJ, but
yeah, I mean, if he's
we're moving forward.
If he's your pick, then he's your pick. But John Cohen is a former outstanding baseball coach. And I don't know if John Cohen, if his athletics director came to him and said, I want your pitching coach to be this guy, or I'm not giving you a job. I don't know if John Cohen would agree to that. He may. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a fair point. Fair question. Steve from Tuscaloosa asks, or he says, living on a prayer for all the Auburn fans as they prepare to try to beat Alabama tomorrow. Steve apparently feeling pretty good about the game in terms of Alabama's chances. Let's see. Tay chimes in. He says, this is smoke and mirrors. What if Chris Lowe's tweet is about a deal for Sumrall at Ole Miss because Kiffin is going to LSU? It's smoke and mirrors because he can't directly say that Lane Kiffin is leaving, and he had to bring up Jon Sumrall's name. Maybe it is all smoke and mirrors. It's a good question. And this one simply says Gators in panic mode. Well, again, if they get Jon Sumrall, I think that's good. If for some reason they're not able to get Jon Sumrall and he goes to Auburn or somewhere else, then I think it is full-on panic mode.
Well, just pay very close attention. If I were Auburn and DJ Durkin is your guy, just like we said a couple of days ago, you make that announcement tonight.
100%.
They have a team meeting tonight. They go to the movies. They do whatever they're going to do. I'm John Cohen. I walk in. I tell the team, this is your not interim head coach, but your head coach moving forward. We'll see what happens. High school football playoffs continue. They roll on tonight. We've got the semifinals coming up in classifications. Kyle Parmley will join us next.